Hamid was so excited about going on a secret mission against the Crusaders that he hardly slept a wink that night. On the other side of the tent, Richard couldn't sleep a wink either. Even though he kept his eyes tight shut and never said a word, yet, strangely, despite being completely unable to go to sleep, both boys were snoring loudly when Captain Bulbul arrived at the wagon.
"Wake up," he whispered. "The sun's about to rise."
Hamid rubbed his eyes sleepily. "What?" he said. "Who?" Captain Bulbul poked him.
"Get dressed, boy," he said. "You have 2 minutes."
There was no time for Hamid to say goodbye to his sleeping father. Captain Bulbul led Hamid and Richard straight to a big tent where the swords and daggers were kept.
"Choose a tight belt and a sharp blade," he said. "This is an important job. You must be prepared."
"Won't we need a shield as well?" said Hamid, "if we're going to be fighting?"
"Ha!" said Captain Bulbul. "You have not been chosen to fight, young Hamid. Spies have to be silent and cunning. This is a job for sharp eyes and ears."
In the big field where the horses were kept, Hamid and Richard were told to choose their horses. When everyone was ready, Captain Bulbul gave his orders.
"We are going east, men. First, we head for the river and Yaqub's crossing. There, we'll fill our water bottles and let the horses drink. On the other side are the mountains. When we get to the Valley of Goats, Shazeb, our best spy and a master of disguise, will meet us. He'll be our guide. There'll be no stopping except to give the horses a rest. It's harder for them than for us. Soldier Hassan, you take the rear. Keep an eye on these 2 boys. The sun's up, let's go. And may Allah guide and protect us."
Captain Bulbul rode at a comfortable pace at first, but then speeded up. Hamid and Richard had to hang on tightly to their galloping horses. They concentrated as hard as they could, dodging rocks and thorn bushes as they pounded along with the wind in their hair. Everyone was glad of the rest when they got to the river and splashed across to the other side. Soldier Hassan gave the boys some bread and a few olives to eat.
"Relax in the shade for a while," he said, "but keep your ears open. When we get the order, Captain Bulbul will set off without delay."
"Whew," said Hamid, flopping down. "That was hard work." "Yes," said Richard, "but good fun, don't you think?" The 2 boys munched at their breakfast.
"Come on," shouted Soldier Hassan. "Mount up! We're off!"
The boys felt they'd hardly had a rest, but in the army, an order is an order. Captain Bulbul pointed in the direction of the Valley of Goats.
"Follow me in single file," he said. "No more galloping. We've got a mountain to climb."
Richard reached for his water bottle. "No," said Hamid. "You must wait for the order."
"Silence," said Soldier Hassan. "No talking. You don't know where those Crusaders might be hiding."
The horses plodded on, hour after hour, up the steep, rocky road. Hamid and Richard looked for any place among the bushes and trees where Crusaders might be hiding. But everybody got to the Valley of Goats safely. Hamid and Richard drank thirstily from their water bottles. "What's that?" said Hamid, wiping his mouth. "Did you hear that noise?" "It sounds like bells," said Richard. It was a shepherd with his flock. The noise came from the tinkling bells the lambs wore around their necks.
"Peace be with you," said the shepherd. "Please don't harm me, you warriors of Salahuddin. I come in peace."
He was an old man, with bent shoulders and a crooked stick in his hand.
"Don't you believe him?" said Captain Bulbul. "That man is our spy, and his name is Shazib, unless I'm very much mistaken."
The shepherd laughed and raised his hat. He shook off his disguise and saluted Captain Bulbul, tall and straight.
"What is your news, O cunning Shazib?" said Captain Bulbul. "Are we in time?"
"Oh, yes," said Shazib. "The Crusaders are relaxing in their camp on the other side of the mountain. This morning they practiced sword fighting, and now, while the sun is hot, they're snoozing in their tents."
"Is it far to their camp?"
said Captain Bulbul.
"No,"
said Shazib. "But it's a steep climb, sir, to the other side. You cannot ride horses. The path is too full of rocks."
"We'll rest until the night," said Captain Bulbul. "Then you'll show us the way. But first, Shazib, I must introduce your helpers. Hamid, Richard, come here. The best spy in the army wants to meet you."